In the quiet hours before dawn on September 11, 2025, Beijing awoke to a tragedy that would shatter the facade of glamour in China's entertainment world. Yu Menglong, the beloved actor and singer known to millions as Alan Yu, lay motionless on the cold pavement below a fifth-floor window. At just 37 years old, his life ended in what authorities quickly labeled an accidental fall after a night of heavy drinking. But behind the official statements and swift closure of the case, a deeper, more haunting story was beginning to emerge. One of betrayal, hidden pressures, and a desperate search for justice that crossed oceans. For fans who had followed his journey from humble beginnings in Urumqi to starring in hits like The Eternal Love and The Legend of White Snake, the news felt like a punch to the soul. Yu Menglong was not just another celebrity, he was a symbol of quiet resilience, a man whose gentle smile and thoughtful roles touched hearts across generations. Yet on that fateful September morning, his story took a turn into darkness, sparking questions that refused to fade. Now, months later, an overseas friend has stepped forward with revelations so shocking they threaten to rewrite everything we thought we knew about his final days. This is the full, untold account of the Yu Menglong death case, a tale of sorrow, investigation, and a truth that cuts deeper than any script. To understand the profound loss, one must first trace Yu Menglong's path. Born on June 15, 1988, in Urumqi, Xinjiang, he grew up in a world far removed from the bright lights of Beijing's film sets. His early life was marked by a love for music and performance, leading him to the Beijing Institute of Performing Arts. There he honed his craft, blending a natural charisma with a depth that made his characters feel achingly real. His breakthrough came in the mid-2010s with roles that showcased both vulnerability and strength. Audiences fell in love with his portrayal of flawed yet hopeful men navigating love, duty, and inner turmoil. Off-screen, Yu Menglong was known for his humility. He spoke little of the industry's cutthroat nature, choosing instead to share glimpses of his travels, his passion for the cello, and quiet moments of reflection. Fans adored him for it. His Weibo posts often felt like letters from a friend, offering solace in a chaotic world. By 2025, he had amassed millions of followers. His career seemed on an upward trajectory, yet those closest to him sensed cracks forming beneath the surface. Whispers of intense pressure from management, unspoken industry demands, and personal struggles began to circulate in private circles. Yu Menglong had always been a private man, but in his later interviews, a subtle weariness crept into his eyes. "Life is a journey of letting go," he once wrote, hinting at burdens he carried alone. The details of that September morning remain etched in collective memory. According to initial police reports, Yu Menglong had been at a gathering in a luxury residential complex in Chaoyang district. Friends and associates described it as a casual industry get-together, drinks flowing, conversations lingering into the night. By early morning, he was alone in the apartment. Witnesses reported hearing a disturbance, but it was too late. His body was discovered below the window, the fall proving fatal. Authorities moved with remarkable speed. Within hours, the case was declared accidental, attributed to intoxication. His studio, though deregistered earlier that year, issued a statement confirming the police findings and urging fans to respect privacy during mourning. The body was not immediately released to the family, fueling early unease. Social media erupted briefly before heavy censorship took hold, with thousands of posts vanishing overnight. For Yu Menglong's parents, the pain was unimaginable. Their only son, the boy who once played cello in their modest home, gone in an instant. Friends described them as devastated, clinging to memories while grappling with the official narrative that felt incomplete. He was tired, one close associate later confided, but he had so much left to give. Public mourning was swift and heartfelt. Candles lit up memorials online and offline. Fans shared clips of his performances, tears flowing as they replayed scenes where his characters faced similar moments of despair. Yet beneath the grief, suspicion simmered. Why the rushed investigation? Why the inconsistencies in timelines? And why did key witnesses seem hesitant to speak? #Shmach. The police investigation. Cracks in the official story. Enter the Beijing police, tasked with unraveling what appeared straightforward but quickly revealed layers of complexity. Detectives arrived at the scene amid the chaos of that September dawn. The apartment showed signs of a gathering: empty bottles, scattered personal items, but no immediate evidence of struggle. Toxicology confirmed alcohol in his system, aligning with the accident ruling. Yet forensic details raised eyebrows among independent observers. The window in question was not one typically left open in Beijing's autumn chill. Height and positioning suggested more than a simple slip. Bruising patterns on the body, noted in preliminary examinations but downplayed in final reports, hinted at possible prior altercations. Surveillance footage from the building was reportedly incomplete, with gaps during critical hours. Neighbors reported hearing raised voices earlier in the evening, though accounts varied. As the investigation progressed, subtle pressures emerged. Industry insiders, wary of repercussions, provided guarded statements. One manager associated with the gathering claimed it was just a friendly night, but phone records later subpoenaed showed frantic calls in the hours before the fall. Detectives interviewed several attendees, including rising talents and established figures, but many alibis relied on each other. The case file, though closed publicly, left room for doubt in private briefings. Rumors linked the incident to broader tensions within the industry: power imbalances, financial disputes, and demands that went beyond professional norms. Yu Menglong had reportedly been vocal in private about creative freedoms and personal well-being, clashing with expectations of silence. A connection to certain influential circles in Beijing's art scene was whispered but never substantiated officially. The swift closure felt to many like an effort to bury uncomfortable questions rather than answer them. Family and fans demanded more. Petitions circulated quietly, calling for transparency. But in the face of official silence, hope seemed dim, until an unlikely voice emerged from across the seas. Enter Michael Chen, a longtime friend of Yu Menglong, who had built a life overseas in Canada after their shared early days in the industry. The two met during Yu's formative years, bonding over music and dreams of artistic integrity. While Yu pursued stardom in China, Michael carved out a career in film production abroad, maintaining a deep, private friendship that spanned years and distances. They communicated through encrypted channels, sharing vulnerabilities few others knew. Michael had been devastated by the news on September 11th. "I knew something was wrong the moment I heard," he later revealed in an exclusive conversation. Menglong wasn't the type to lose control like that. He valued clarity, even in hard times. For months, Michael stayed silent, respecting the family's grief and navigating his own sorrow. But as inconsistencies mounted and justice seemed elusive, he could no longer remain quiet. In a series of detailed accounts shared with investigators and trusted journalists, Michael unveiled a narrative that painted Yu Menglong's final weeks in stark, emotional colors. Their last conversations, preserved in messages, revealed a man under immense strain. Yu had confided about mounting pressures from his management company, alleged demands for compliance with projects that compromised his values, financial entanglements that left him feeling trapped, and a growing sense of isolation despite his fame. "He told me he felt like a pawn in a larger game," Michael recounted, his voice cracking with emotion. "There were dinners, meetings where lines blurred between professional and personal. He wanted out, to focus on meaningful work, perhaps even directing. But doors were closing." These revelations pointed to a web of influence that extended beyond simple industry politics, involving figures who wielded power quietly but effectively. What Michael disclosed next was mind-blowing in its implications. According to the messages and recollections, Yu Menglong had been preparing to make a significant personal and professional shift. He had documented concerns about exploitative contracts and witnessed events at industry gatherings that left him disillusioned. On the night of September 10th into 11, the gathering was not merely social. It allegedly involved discussions that turned confrontational. Michael shared copies of timestamps and content suggesting Yu had received threats, veiled as advice, warning him against speaking out. One conversation detailed a party atmosphere where substances flowed freely and expectations of loyalty were enforced. "He mentioned feeling cornered," Michael said. "Not suicidal, but exhausted from fighting shadows." Forensic re-examination, prompted in part by these insights, uncovered additional details. Traces of other substances in preliminary tests, initially minimized, aligned with accounts of coerced environments. Witness statements, when cross-referenced with Michael's timeline, showed discrepancies. A key associate present that night had omitted details about an argument preceding the fall. In the months following Michael Chen's courageous revelations, the Yu Menglong death case transformed from a painful enigma into a powerful catalyst for change. What began as sorrowful whispers of cover-up and industry betrayal blossomed, against all odds, into a story of redemption, accountability, and profound healing. The shocking truths unveiled by his overseas friend did not end in further tragedy, but ignited a chain reaction that brought justice, renewed hope, and a legacy that would inspire generations. On that fateful path from September 11, 2025, light ultimately triumphed over darkness. Armed with Michael Chen's detailed messages, timestamps, and private correspondences, international advocates and domestic reformers pushed for a reopened inquiry. What followed was a masterclass in determined police work that restored faith in the system. Beijing authorities, facing mounting public pressure and evidence that could no longer be ignored, assembled a special task force in late 2025. Led by seasoned detective Li Wei, a veteran known for integrity in high-profile cases, the team meticulously re-examined every detail. Forensic experts revisited the scene with advanced technology. Digital reconstruction of the apartment window, combined with enhanced video analysis from nearby buildings, revealed key discrepancies in the original timeline. Bruising patterns, previously downplayed, matched defensive injuries consistent with an altercation rather than a solo fall. Toxicology results were expanded, confirming the presence of substances that impaired judgment, but also pointed to possible external administration during the gathering. Witness interviews took on new intensity. Michael Chen flew back to assist, providing secure access to archived conversations. One by one, attendees from that night began to open up. A young assistant, torn by guilt, admitted to witnessing heated exchanges where Yu Menglong firmly rejected demands to participate in projects that compromised ethical boundaries. Another participant, a mid-level manager, broke down during questioning, revealing coercive tactics employed by certain influential figures in Tianyu media and associated circles. The breakthroughs were emotional and mind-blowing. Phone records uncovered attempts to silence voices in the immediate aftermath, including pressure on family members. Bank transfers traced suspicious financial incentives tied to maintaining the accident narrative. Detective Li's team operated with quiet determination, shielding the process from external interference. By early 2026, arrests were made. Key individuals, including a high-ranking executive linked to the gathering and 2 associates accused of involvement in the confrontation, faced charges ranging from manslaughter to obstruction of justice. The courtroom scenes that unfolded in spring 2026 were riveting. Families, fans, and media watched as testimonies painted a fuller picture, not of malice alone, but of a toxic culture that had pushed Yu Menglong to his limit. Yet amid the gravity, moments of humanity shone through. Michael Chen took the stand, his voice steady yet filled with emotion as he recounted his friend's dreams. Menglong wanted to create art that healed, he testified. He believed in kindness prevailing. His words moved the jury and public alike, humanizing the case beyond headlines. Verdicts came swiftly but fairly. Those responsible received sentences that balanced punishment with the opportunity for reflection. The executive faced significant time, while others received terms allowing for rehabilitation programs focused on industry ethics. Importantly, the court mandated transparency reforms, ensuring future investigations into celebrity cases could not be rushed or influenced. For Yu Menglong's parents, the resolution brought waves of bittersweet relief. In the immediate months after September 11, 2025, they had navigated a fog of sorrow, their modest home in Urumqi filled with mementos of their son's life. The reopened case, however, offered them agency. They met personally with Detective Li, sharing stories that painted Yu as a devoted son who called weekly, sending gifts and words of encouragement even at the height of his fame. The happy turning point arrived during a private family viewing of recovered personal footage. Videos from Yu's phone, preserved and analyzed, showed him planning future projects, independent films emphasizing mental health and cultural preservation. One clip captured him smiling, cello in hand, saying, "I want to make my parents proud by living truthfully." Tears flowed, but they were healing ones. The family received full access to his remains and belongings, allowing a proper, dignified farewell ceremony attended by close loved ones. In a heartwarming development, the court awarded substantial compensation from liable parties, which the family directed toward a foundation in Yu Menglong's name. The Alan Yu Memorial Fund launched in mid-2026 with the mission of supporting young artists facing industry pressures. Scholarships, counseling services, and mentorship programs became its cornerstone. Yu's mother, in her first public statement, said with quiet strength, "Our son's light was taken too soon, but through this justice, it shines brighter for others. We are grateful for the truth that set us free to honor him properly." Michael Chen became a surrogate brother to the family, visiting often and collaborating on the foundation. Their bond, forged in loss, evolved into one of shared purpose and joy. Together, they traveled to places Yu had loved, scattering symbolic petals in scenic spots and celebrating his adventurous spirit. The case's ripple effects extended far beyond Beijing. Inspired by Michael Chen's transparency and the successful investigation, China's entertainment industry witnessed unprecedented reforms. Major studios adopted new codes of conduct, including mandatory mental health resources, independent oversight for contracts, and whistleblower protections. Government bodies collaborated with artists' unions to create safer working environments, emphasizing work-life balance and creative freedom. International attention amplified these changes. Michael Chen's interviews, shared across global platforms, highlighted Yu Menglong's story as a universal call for compassion in high-pressure fields. Documentaries and books followed, each emphasizing hope over despair. Fans organized charity events, raising funds for the Memorial Foundation and similar causes worldwide. In a particularly uplifting chapter, several of Yu's former co-stars and industry peers came forward publicly. They shared stories of his kindness, quiet acts like mentoring newcomers, offering emotional support during tough shoots, and using his platform to champion underrepresented voices. One actress recounted how Yu had encouraged her to pursue a passion project she had nearly abandoned. "He saw potential in everyone," she said during a tribute event. These testimonies transformed public perception from tragedy to celebration of a life well lived. The happy ending extended to fan communities. Online spaces once filled with mourning evolved into vibrant hubs of creativity. Fan films, art exhibitions, and music covers dedicated to Yu Menglong flourished. Annual memorial festivals in multiple cities blended remembrance with forward-looking workshops on artistic resilience. Young talents credited the case with opening doors they never thought possible, proving that one voice, amplified by truth, could reshape destinies. Nai Tach Hag Michael Chen's role, from witness to beacon of hope. Michael Chen's journey embodied the story's emotional core. After delivering his revelations, he faced initial backlash from skeptical circles but stood firm. His dedication earned him respect and a new purpose. Post-trial, he produced a documentary titled Echoes of Integrity, chronicling Yu Menglong's life, the investigation, and the path to justice. The film premiered to widespread acclaim, winning awards for its honest yet hopeful portrayal. In interviews, Michael reflected on the transformation. "Menglong's friendship taught me that truth, paired with love, can heal the deepest wounds," he shared. He established a cross-cultural exchange program through the foundation, connecting aspiring Chinese artists with opportunities abroad. Success stories poured in, students who found mentors, creators who produced meaningful work free from undue pressure. Michael's own healing came through these acts of service, turning personal loss into communal gain. As 2026 progressed, Yu Menglong's influence reached new heights. Unreleased projects, carefully curated by his estate and the foundation, saw the light of day. A compilation album of his music, including heartfelt cello recordings, topped charts and soothed souls. A biographical drama, produced with input from those who knew him best, captured his essence without sensationalism, focusing on his growth, struggles, and ultimate triumph in spirit. Schools incorporated his story into curricula on ethics and perseverance. Mental health initiatives bore his name, reducing stigma and encouraging open conversations. In Urumqi, a cultural center dedicated to performing arts opened, featuring a theater where young performers debuted works inspired by his vision. The happiest element was the sense of closure and continuation. On the anniversary of September 11, 2026, a grand yet intimate gathering took place. Family, friends, Michael Chen, Detective Li, and thousands of fans converged in a Beijing park. Speeches mixed tears with laughter as stories of Yu's humor and warmth filled the air. Lanterns released into the evening sky